Hi, and welcome to today's contribution, which is about philosophy, feminism, fishing, and freebies. Yes, freebies. If you're interested in all four of those, you're definitely in for a treat. The reason for today's contribution is that I recently stumbled over a thesis by Larelle Bossi. Here it is, a first cast at a philosophy of fishing. This prompted me to revisit my cast at it in Angles on Fishing. Here they are, Larelle's Thesis 2020 and Angles on Fishing by yours truly in 2010. Let's focus on Larelle Bossi's thesis. Let me get this clear from the start. This thesis is an outstanding and important achievement. And part of the achievement is that she identifies the gap. Now, what gap? The gap is the lack of a comprehensive philosophy or philosophies of fishing. Now, why should that be important? For thousands and thousands and thousands of years, uh, all went very well without the philosophy of fishing. And the reason is that for thousands and thousands and thousands of years, nobody noticed that the essence of fishing is the suffering fish and the cruel angler. Only in the last 200 years or so, it emerged on the horizon of European intellectuals that fish pain and the cruel angler are the essence of fishing. And this view is fully grown now today. The academic and political discourse on fishing is dominated and dictated by animal rights. And it is dictated by their absolutely simplistic view that the essence of fishing is in the interaction between the fish and the angler. They cancel out 99.999% of the reality of fishing, and they succeeded in convincing a wider public and a substantial number of lawmakers to ignore 99.9999% of reality. That is a great success for the animal rights movement. Here is an example of what reality means. Reality is not just environmental concerns like pollution, riparian agriculture, or invasive species. Reality is the whole picture, and that means culture, traditions, history, science, art, and literature. That's the whole picture. And the supposedly cruel angler is but a tiny, tiny, tiny part of reality. And I have to say it again, the animal rights movement succeeds in keeping everybody focused just on that angler fish interaction. Now, a philosophy or philosophies of fishing would at least give that simplistic animal rights philosophy a sort of counterweight. A philosophy of fishing would at least instill a sense, literally instill a sense of reality into the debate on fishing. And Larelle's thesis is a beginning. And this is why I say it is unique and important. I, I also say this because I basically agree with her assumptions and with some of her major findings. Larelle's thesis and angles share the most basic assumption, which is there is more to fishing than catching fish. She says in her introduction, there is more to the human activity of fishing than just catching fish. My introduction is this book is about the more in there is more to fishing than catching fish. So that's some common ground. There is more common ground in what probably are the major findings. And the first one is fishing is about life, it's about being human. She puts it like fishing is a symbol of our humanity. I say very much the same thing with different words. Integral to the grammar of fishing are questions and reflections about meaning, about wisdom, and about life. Well, that is, as far as I'm concerned, that's more or less the same thing. The other major area where there is lots of common ground is the female angle. I say the mythical, theoretical, and practical origins of fishing are female. And overall, my guess is Larelle would agree because, in essence, that is what her thesis says, at least as I understand it. Now, in this passage here, Larelle says fishing is seductive in character, lured by nature, eloping upon the waterscape, and dancing with the cosmos. Now, that's different language, but it points into the same direction. And notice up there, or just there, the womb envy. Now, that's an interesting point that I hit on that. Well, I think I had the same thing in mind. I hit on that in angles as well. So here is my take on womb envy. As recent research shows, beer contains female hormones. Heavy beer drinkers tend literally to become more female. For instance, they grow glandular tissue in the chest. Now, that is revealing it can only mean that there is an unconscious desire in those men to become at least partly female in order to gain that magic touch and that infallible intuition which help them to catch more fish. So that's my take on womb envy. There is heaps of angles I share and enjoy in this thesis, and there are real gems like the chapter on the cosmic fish of creation, a real gem. And there are some seriously interesting discussions of Ortega, Hemingway, Thoreau, and others. There are areas where I'm definitely not on the same page. I think, for example, there is more in Isaac Walton than she gives him credit for. Now, could that be because he is white and male? Well, I don't know. The only real problem here is me because I am heavily prejudiced against anything that sails under the flag of feminism and involves a lot of psychology. But instead of enjoying a futile rant, I confine myself to say that, as far as I'm concerned, feminism is a bridge destroyer. And I'm not going further into that because that would be terribly unfair, because it would distract from the achievement of this thesis. Of course, there is this feminist angle, but Larelle's blinkers are obviously transparent because she never loses sight of the whole picture. And like fishing, the range of her thesis is truly global and cross-cultural, and her approach is interdisciplinary. So all in all, this is, as I said, a great achievement, unique and important. Please be aware, this is a scholarly piece. It is academic writing, and it isn't exactly easygoing. And if you're not savvy to the lingo and some of the major references involved, you can't navigate it without the help of Uncle Google. Well, I couldn't, but, big but, if you muster the courage and delve into it, you will find it a real treasure chest. Please find the link for the download in the description below. I'm sure all of you have heard of the legendary fly rod Crosby, that's her, or the famous Georgina Ballantyne with her salmon, or Bev Street, or Nikki Sinden and Linda Matthews. What I'm saying is that fishing may be predominantly male, but who is interested in quantity? It's quality that matters. And that fact hasn't escaped artists nor the designers of the world of Warcraft. Look here at the angler. This shows you just how deeply rooted fishing is in our being human. Even in an unreal world, you fish. Note the feathered hat. I'll come back to that in a moment. Here is a completely different picture, a painting. Look at the body language. They just know they will catch. That is why they're so relaxed. And this painting here is called The Angler. It's not called The Anglerette or The Fisherette. And there is that feathered hat again. That feathered hat is an allusion to Athena, the Greek goddess of wisdom and warfare. But Plato says that Athena is the Greek version of the Egyptian goddess Neith, who was in charge not just of hunting, but also of the cosmos, water, and rivers. So there you are, fishing and wisdom, and it's female. It's all obvious. This painting here is called The Complete Angler. And again, anglerette or fisherette would be an insult. The complete angler means not the female complete angler, but the complete angler as in all anglers, male, female, or whatever. Now, this brings me to the freebies. The freebies are all about the 6 remaining copies of this special leather-bound edition of Angles on Fishing. This is a top quality product, and it needed to be, because there is some really excellent photography in it and reproductions of paintings by Turner, Feininger, and Monet, and other famous artists. And that is truly unique. I don't think you will find this in any other angling book or fishing book for that matter. Content-wise, I have to add that 10% of it is absolute rubbish. And another 10% is painfully cringy. I mean, seriously cringy. There is 30%, which is quite good, and another 30% that is better than quite good. So, all in all, it stood the test of time. So, you might ask, why? Why this offer? And the answer is that the publisher and me, we agree that it is a much better idea that these remaining copies gather dust on your bookshelf rather than in the warehouse where they have been for the last 15 years.
Freebie means freebie. No terms or conditions apply. 6 copies left, first come, first served. Required: name, surname, postal and email address and contact number. Delivery time, depending on where you are in the world, 2 to 20 days. Send your freebie request to alex@philosophies.com.
So if you're quick enough and get a copy of it and download Larelle's Thesis, you literally get the full picture of why the foundations of fishing are female. That's it for today. Thank you for your interest. If you have questions, feel free to get in touch. That's it. Cheers.